Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, if you're in business, growing your brand has not been more important than ever. Today is the day that you're going to learn some strategic consulting strategies so you can grow organically on LinkedIn. So let's get this party started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. All right, business bros, in today's digital age, standing out amongst the crowd on social media is a formidable challenge. Yet our next guest has not only risen above the noise, but has crafted a strategy so effective that it's propelled him to the top 1.5% of podcasters globally as a founder and CEO of Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting. He's a master in leveraging LinkedIn to maximize reach, impact, and income. Through his consulting, he's transformed the digital presence of countless businesses, guiding them to blaze their own trails towards unprecedented growth. He's an author, a keynote speaker, and our go-to expert for anything LinkedIn. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Jordan Mendoza. Party on,
Hey,
Jordan. Welcome to the show.
What's going on? Hey, appreciate you having me, man. I love all the video. I love that intro video you guys did. I was like, man, I got to put one of those together. That was fire. So kudos to the team for putting that together.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Coming from 1.5 top podcaster globally, I'm loving the feedback. Appreciate it, man. All right, let's jump into this. You're on LinkedIn. We actually met one time before. We did this a panel for somebody, and I remember you being on the panel. And that's where I kind of met you the first time. And then I've kind of been seeing you on LinkedIn, pop on, do some stuff here and there. But tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Everybody who comes on the show is here to sell something, to promote something that they do. What is that for you?
Yeah, so from a business standpoint, my main company, you mentioned it, Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting, and we help coaches, consultants, really anyone that provides a service, build authority and monetize their efforts on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Because at the end of the day, it is all about growing and putting in the effort to get our brand out there. So let's talk about where you started, dude. Can you share a pivotal moment that led you to start Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting? Like, what were you doing that you decided, look, this is where I want to go? You could have got a job, but you decided to do your own thing.
Yeah, so actually I was in about 12 years into a corporate career in property management, and I think I was about in my fifth year in the training and development department, and I started teaching a 6-month leadership program. And in order to teach that program, I had to go get certified in Myers-Briggs, which is one of the world's most widely used personality assessments. It's called the MBTI assessment. And once I got certified, I started to facilitate this 6-month leadership program. And I started noticing that in the program, there was about 15 to 20 people in the cohort. And at the end of it, the feedback that I kept getting was that, man, their relationships were better with their family. Everything that I taught them, they applied it and it worked. Their lives were changing in some form or fashion. And I just kind of looked around and I was just thinking, if I stay in this corporate role, I'm only going to be able to help a very limited amount of people. But if I can, get out there and, blaze my own trail and start coaching people. And at that point, honestly, I didn't even look at it from the context of social media or LinkedIn or anything. It was just the fact that I saw that I could have a positive impact in people's lives. And that's kind of when that seed was planted. And then I actually got a goal from my boss who said, hey, go out and find a social media platform that we can get all of our associates engaged on. And I searched a bunch of them, and I ended up on LinkedIn in April of 2019 with 7,000 connections and really doing research. And then that ended up having me put out my first video, which got about 5 views, and they were all me because I kept going back and rewatching the thing. But that was kind of the start. And then I started, connecting with other people, getting some like information and tips from people. And then a mentor of mine, his name is Brian Schulman. He's kind of been known as like the godfather of LinkedIn. The guy was one of the first video beta testers, and he holds the record for the longest live streams. And he was kind of someone that was very positive, and I ended up just reaching out to the guy. I was like, you know what do I have to lose? The guy can either just tell me to kick rocks, or maybe he can give me some kind of tips on what I should do, because I had no clue. Honestly, I didn't know what I was going to put out on video. Honestly, I was afraid of what people were going to think. Like, who the heck's going to want to listen to this guy? Like, what's this guy have to say? And so I was dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I couldn't be more happy, honestly, when I reached out to him. I remember I was in Boston, Massachusetts, doing my corporate job, and I was in my hotel room. It was probably 9 o'clock Eastern, and I FaceTime with this guy. And this guy said, "Hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your story. Tell me about some things that you've done in your life, places that you've been." And when I got finished through telling him, he said, "One day you're going to have a brand bigger than me." And for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, I believed him, and so I was crazy enough to say, you know what? Let me just start showing up. Let me actually put out more content. So I just jumped into the briefcase. I mean, I've been in sales now 30 years. Like, I probably can coach people on sales. I've been doing this Myers Briggs thing. I've been doing emotional intelligence. So I just started literally doing what I was doing in the classroom and corporate, and I started bringing that in video content form on LinkedIn. And before I knew it, I had a whole NBA stadium full of followers. And that was April. I had 7,000. I went to December. I literally grew to 20,000 followers. And I was just like, whoa, like, this is strange. Like, it was very weird to know that all these people were not only connecting with me, but engaging on the content. We were building relationships, was building some networking and friends and things like that. And I said, wow, like, I had to kind of see, how did I get there? And that's some of the tips that I want to share today is, what did I do to kind of reverse engineer what I found was working? And then that actually turned into my first coaching program.
All right, let's do that then. Let's reverse engineer it. Let's first of all, congratulations on the success, and kudos to reaching out to somebody that you wanted to be like, because a lot of people are hesitant to do that, and we don't realize how many people actually will say yes, and we make up all these excuses in our own mind and don't actually go ask. But it can really change the way you're doing. Just the fact that he said your brand is going to be better, whether he believed it or not, you believed it. And I don't think people
100%.
realize how powerful that is. Our imagination is literally the thing that is going to show us where we want to go. As long as we believe we can get there, you're gonna get there. It might not be as quick as you want, it might take longer, it might cost more, but you can get there. So kudos to you on that. So let's reverse engineer it. Tell me how do you work that backwards? Because I always hear people reverse engineer, but when they actually break it down, it's kind of different from what I thought. So walk me through.
Sure.
What did you end up doing?
Yeah, I had to really kind of segment things. And so I thought back to kind of like, where did I start, right? And where I started was with my profile, because at the time, I think my banner was like the standard gray banner that LinkedIn gives you for free.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people probably that are going to watch this or listen to this, your banner may be there right
Cookie.
now, and it's okay, because you can fix it. And so I said, you know what? I put like a positive quote up. It was just something that I resonated with. I didn't have a business. I didn't have anything. So I just said, let me put something there so I
Mhm.
can leverage this piece of real estate that the platform was giving me. And then the next thing I did is I tackled my headline text, which is really the area that they give you to describe who you are. And now of course I know that those are keywords that can obviously be searched. And I didn't know any of this stuff back then, but I started to put things that I enjoyed and that resonated with other people. That was kind of the first iteration of that. And then I looked down at my profile, and I noticed that most people's profile was literally almost a copy and paste of their resume. So they would
Mm.
take their resume from their experience section, they would paste it into their about summary. And so I started really thinking about it, and the about summary is about you. It's about you as a person. And so I said, you know what? This is an opportunity where I could actually tell a story, and I can give people deeper context into who I am as a human being, and let me just try this out. Like, let me just test it out. And I started having people DM me, and they're like, wow, like, I can't believe you've been through all that stuff. Your mom sounds like a strong person. And because they were saying these things, it A, showed me that there was some type of emotional connection. There was something that connected with them with me, the human, that at the end of the day, that's who they're going to meet with. And so I said, you know what? This is actually better that I'm differentiating myself from all the other resumes that are out there. Let me actually try this different thing and just tell some stories and give people some deep context. And that was kind of what I did with the about summary. And then I went in and I just started kind of, it was an optimization thing. I was like, okay, I tweaked all this stuff. So that was kind of phase one, is like, got to get this stuff optimized. And then the next thing I did is I said, well, before I was posting kind of spontaneously, and then I started posting on a consistent basis, meaning Monday through Friday. And sometimes even on the weekends, I was posting like family stuff. And I said, okay, so you got to have a strategy and you got to be consistent. So that was kind of the next layer of it. And then it was like, what did I do when people commented? Well, I commented back to every single person. I didn't let a single person go by without me replying back to them. And so I was like, you know what? We have to have an engagement strategy. And then the next thing is taking the online offline. And so I would not only just connect with people, but I would actually have a conversation and thank them for connecting and see how we can actually help each other out. And so, that was essentially the framework that was my initial 12-week LinkedIn coaching program. And I literally would teach my clients how to go from optimizing to monetizing in 12 weeks.
That's a good strategy, because I feel like there's a lot of times that we want to utilize social media, or we want to utilize our podcast to monetize. We just don't know that connection, that little piece. How do we take somebody who maybe saw us online, maybe had a small connection, and turn them into an actual customer? And I think a lot of it you explained right there with your engagement strategy on and offline, which essentially makes you a person, somebody that they trust, and then that conversation might open the door. It might not be business initially, but it could lead to something, or it could lead to a referral. It could lead to a number of different things, opportunities you never even know what doors might open once you have these conversations, which is totally amazing. And I want to kind of hover on the content part, because you mentioned you would post sporadically, and then you kind of shifted that mindset. So content creation is one of those things that I know when I talk to marketers, advertisers, whatever it is, they work with clients, and a lot of times clients don't have content. You might want to create stuff to put on ads, and they just don't have content. Maybe they have a YouTube video, a couple pictures here and there, but to develop that consistency could be difficult. What did you do to maintain a consistent content creation strategy?
Yeah, so honestly, it was very painful for a long time because my strategy was like, I'm gonna literally wake up and I'm gonna turn the video on and I'm just gonna come like freestyle it for the day, and that worked
Mhm.
out for a pretty long time until it didn't, So, and then I had
Yeah.
to really build an actual strategy where, hey, there's specific days. Like I had a share Sunday, so every Sunday I would do this post and there was a little video and there'd be the same video every Sunday, but it was something I knew I could commit to. And it was called Share Sunday. And it gave my audience the opportunity to share anything. So if they had a new podcast come out, if they had a book be released, if they had, we're looking for new clients, if they just want to share their company page, literally that's all it was an invitation for people to share something going on in their world on a Sunday. And that kind of took the pressure off me a little bit, because I knew every Sunday I just got to be ready to get the video up. I can post this. And the engagement was literally through the roof. And people would come back. And then I built a hashtag called hashtag share Sunday. And that started picking up followers. And so basically, it would give me two opportunities for people to visit that post each and every Sunday. And that's something I did for about 2 years. I believe I had that going, maybe a little more than 2 years. But that, again, that's something that, I would say, try to make it easy on yourself. Don't do what I did in the beginning, which is kind of freestyle stuff, because if you're someone like me that's very ADD, you could probably come up with something every day. But if you're not, then and you are a more structured person, what I would say is like literally get old school, grab a Word document, type Monday through Friday, and then on Monday, hey, what topic can I share on? Maybe it's Motivation Monday. Maybe Tuesday is Tip Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday is, does that make sense? And just kind of build
Mhm.
something that you can create a system and a process around, because the reason why most people aren't successful is they don't have systems and processes in place to create consistent, repetitive visibility. And what happens is basically they show up and they're like, this platform sucks because no one's ever engages in my stuff. And it's like, bro, where have you been? You've been
Mhm.
gone for like 3 weeks. And so if you can create something that's a system and process, essentially a standard of operating procedure that you just do not do, then you're going to find yourself in a better place.
Yeah, and another issue that I feel that people stop themselves is I don't like the way I look on camera, and I don't like the way I sound behind the microphone, and I think a lot of that has to do with your own imposter syndrome because. This is the way I look and this is the way I sound. And it's been like that for 40 plus years of my life. So there's nothing that I can do to change that. It's a comfort level that I have with myself. Let me ask you about that because
Yeah.
when you're freestyling at the beginning, you're so focused on what you're going to say, you don't really worry about what you're going to look like. But then comes the part where you're looking at it again and you're deciding whether you're going to hit that post button, right? And a lot of people, that's where
Yeah.
they fall off. They might stand behind their phone, they record something, they listen to it, and they're like, I'm not posting that. How did you get past that?
Yep. It's all about the reps, guys. And my clients hate when I say this. They're like, what did you do to get better? I'm like, I did it a bunch, and I did it more, and even when I sucked, and even when I sounded bad, and even when I didn't want to post it, and I just kept doing it because the more reps that we put in, it doesn't matter whether it's the gym, if it's reading books, if it's want training your dog, like it doesn't matter. The more reps you put in, the better you're gonna get, and that's just a plain out truth. And so if you're not comfortable, just like be on the camera all the time, literally, like any thought you have, just look into the camera and speak that thought out. And what's going to happen is over time you're going to not even remember that the camera's there, but again, it's not something that is going to happen overnight. I think my first 50 episodes where I interviewed people, I was so nervous for those first 50. So even then, even through your nerves, you just got to push through, because every time you do that, your confidence level is going to increase just a little bit. Because I think most of us hate the way we look, or we hate the way we sound. I mean, it's just one of those things, because we're our own worst enemy. But I will tell you, on the other side of that fear is success. You just have to be willing to put in those reps every day.
All right, I'm gonna push back on you with another one, man. Jordan, I just don't have time, dude. And when I'm trying to structure it Monday through Friday, coming up with things, I have like writer's block. And there's like a wall there I can't get past. What could I do to find the time or even have that creativity to help me figure out what I'm gonna say every day?
Yeah, I would say, could you realistically budget an hour a week? That's all. That's really all. This is 2024, guys. We have AI. We've got so much great technology out there. And the first thing I'll say about AI is there to kind of help you ideate. It's not the end all be all. So don't just take what AI spits out and go post that, because people can tell. You have to
Mhm.
actually, leverage it for ideating stuff, and it has to be, in your own words, and with your own personality. So that's the first thing I'll say about AI. But I will tell you, there's many platforms out there, especially if you're like, hey, I want to do a bunch of video content. I mean, there's so many platforms out there that you can upload a video that's an hour long, and then all of a sudden you get tons and tons of content, and a lot of them will even curate copy, and there's so much out there. So if you say you don't have time, I'll just say, maybe you're spending time in the wrong places. Maybe
Mm.
you need to get off, one of the video streaming apps, or one of the, watching sports, or get off something else so that you can invest in you, because an investment of content creation is investment in your business. It's an investment in the reps that you need to put in to get better at it. And honestly, if you sit in front of the camera for an hour and just rattle off some of your best stuff, your one lines and things like that, and then go plug that into one of the many platforms out there. I mean, you got Opus Clips, you got the Captions app for the iPhone, you got CapCut. I mean, there's no end to the amount of platforms now that can basically help you save more time. So that 1 hour could potentially get you 2 or 3 weeks of content. And if you don't like typing, do what I did when I wrote my first co-authored my first book. I did it through dictation. So if you have Microsoft Word, you can hit the little dictate button. If you've got a microphone or a headset, you can literally speech to text everything, and then go in and tweak and edit. So there are ways to do it. You just have to prioritize getting it done.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you like to take the engagement that you have online and take it offline. One of the ways that you've been able to do that is through workshops. Can you tell me about the kind of impact that LinkedIn has had in helping you fill your workshops and change the lives of the people who go to your workshops?
Yeah, no, it's been really great. Of course, the reason why I want to continue to grow on every platform, it's not from a vanity metric sake. Was like, hey, I want all these followers. It's like, no, I want to be able to reach as many people as possible. And so with the reach, and I've got a newsletter I launched about 14 months ago, and we've grown it to 18,000 subscribers on LinkedIn. And that's just LinkedIn. And so whenever I've got a workshop, if I post it on that newsletter, it goes to the inbox on LinkedIn and the email of 18,000 people. So LinkedIn has lots of opportunities to fill your different events. And then, of course, you got to have strategies for it as well. So if there's, I've got 30,000 first level connections. And so if I go in and filter and say, hey, I want to speak to all the CEOs in this particular state, I can filter that out, and then I can have a strategy where I do outreach and I actually communicate, or I send them a voice note, or I send them a video of me and I say, hey, I'm having an event. I'd love to see you there. Would it make sense to send you the link? They say yes, and then I send them the link, right? So there's a lot of ways to get in front of people. Most people stop at when it takes a little bit of effort. And so what I would say is, if you go the extra mile, and you start to build out a strategy, that extra effort will turn into extra revenue. Okay,
Mm.
because there are such things as RGAs, revenue generating activities, and that type of outreach, that type of publication to reach a ton of people, that's a revenue generating activity. It gets me in front of a lot of people that are the ideal folks that I want to reach, and it gets my offer or workshop or whatever it is in front of them. And at the end of the day, who wouldn't want to be in front of a lot of people? I mean, most people would say that's actually why I listen to this podcast, is I want to learn how to be in front of a lot of people. And so I say, as you build your audience, make sure that you're constantly communicating to that audience, because if you stop showing up, it's going to take time to, even with me, when I stop posting because I'm traveling or I'm doing something, it takes time to warm the audience back up. They
Mhm.
don't stop for you no matter what the number is. You have to be consistent in maintaining that engagement.
Oh, 100%, dude. Those gaps in your posting, they make a huge effect for your audience because they have an expectation of you once you've started doing it on a consistent basis. Now, speaking of consistency and growth, one of the last things I wanted to ask you about is your success in podcasting. I mean, you ranked top 1.5% globally. What are some strategies that you've utilized in podcasting to help you rock the charts like that?
Oh man, I think it's just the show. I've never scripted out any part of the show, and a lot of people don't know that. The whole show is freestyle. Most of the guests I literally meet for the first time on the show, and at the end of it, people think we're friends for years. And so I think part of it is my personality style, just kind of the way that I am. I used to do a lot of freestyle rap, so I can think on my feet pretty
Yeah.
quickly. I never lost a freestyle battle. I think that actually helps.
Oh, Jordan, did I lose you? Or did I lose my internet? No, my internet's still good. Oh no, we might have lost Jordan. He's talking about freestyling and we might have lost him. That sucks.
Oh, there we are. So, yeah, so
Oh, okay, okay, you're here. All right.
we got yes,
Last thing I heard
yeah,
was you never lost a freestyle battle, and then
yeah.
you dropped. I
So
was like,
never
what?
never lost a freestyle battle, right? So I think that honestly helps. It also helps that I'm ADHD, I think, because I'm constantly thinking of things, and always like about 20 steps ahead in thought patterns. So I have the kind of innate ability to kind of get where people are going, and so that has really helped me build very, very strong relationships in the average 42 minutes that I'm on a show, because I've had guests that have turned into clients, and I was not looking for a client, but I built a relationship. And when you can build relationships, that will turn into future conversations, that will turn into collaborations, that will turn into networking. And there's just so many opportunities that my podcast has afforded me because I've built strong relationships with the guests.
There are a lot of people who are struggling on social media, struggling on LinkedIn, and they want to make a mark, right? They want to be active in there. They want to be engaging. They want to put on workshops. They want to monetize their stuff. They just don't know how, right? So if listeners or viewers, right, are looking for some advice to do that, how can they get a hold of you? How can they be a part of one of your workshops, listen to your podcast? Give me the plugs here.
Yeah, so I'd say one of the easiest ways is just find me on LinkedIn. I'm one of the only Jordan Mendozas, and my face will look exactly like this one. So find me on there. My messages are open. Just DM me. And actually, if you're a listener of the Business Bros podcast, then you're a friend of mine. So honestly, if you message me on LinkedIn, the word Blaze, like Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting, I'll actually give any of the listeners of the show $500 off any of my LinkedIn workshops. So whether that's my 6-week accelerator or the 12-week group workshop, $500 off either of those for all the listeners here. Just make it super easy, and all you have to do is DM me the word Blaze, and that way I'll know you guys heard it right here.
Boom. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Blaze. And the website for all you guys is scrolling across the bottom. If you're watching, if you're listening, it's blazeyourowntrailconsulting.com. You can find Jordan on social, on LinkedIn at Jordan J. Mendoza. Send him that DM, Blaze. And then if you're coming from the Business Bros, have them rap for you. See if you can battle and get some cool stuff out of the experience and start building that relationship. Jordan, thank you very much for coming on the program, man. Congratulations on all your success on LinkedIn. Congratulations on your podcast growth. I mean, ultimately, it means that you are changing lives, and that's cool. That's exactly what we're here to do, is to make a difference and help people achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And you're literally doing that. So thank you very much for being on the program and for all you do, ladies and gentlemen. Mentorship is vital. It's crucial. It's the way you're going to get from point A to point B in the fastest way possible, the most efficient way possible. Can you become popular on LinkedIn? Can you build a podcast on your own? Absolutely. Problem is, you're going to step on all the same mistakes and step in all the holes and make the same mistakes that we did when we first got started. So why not just skip that stuff? One more time, his website scrolling across the bottom, blazeyourtrailconsulting.com, blazeyourtrailconsulting.com. Reach out to Jordan. He's a cool dude. He'll help you get to where you want to go. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast, but not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz to get